Hello, I'm Caitlin Laurie. I'm the Director of Financial Aid here at Framingham State, and I'm just going to talk about how to apply for financial aid and the different types of financial aid that we offer here at FSU. So let me share my screen. Hiya, does that look okay? Okay.
Yep, I can see it.
All right, excellent. So first things first, how do you apply for financial aid? Families apply for financial aid by completing the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. Keyword there is free. The process does not cost anything, and you should never be paying someone to help you file a FAFSA. The process is completely free. And you'll want to choose the 2025-2026 FAFSA for fall 2025 admission. The website is fafsa.gov. All contributors will need their own unique studentaid.gov account. And you just simply create the account at studentaid.gov. So the contributor would be the student themselves. And you want to make sure you're using an email address that you're going to have for a long time, not like the email address that you had from your high school that's going to be deactivated, once you graduate. And then this ID account stays with you through your whole time as a student. So you have to reapply for financial aid each year. If you borrow a loan, you'll have to use it to sign your master promissory note and complete your entrance counseling. So it really is, it stays with you for a long time. And then also, if the student is dependent, the parent will also need their own studentaid.gov account. So at least one parent will need their own account. The FAFSA uses what we call prior year income. So the 2025-2026 FAFSA uses, excuse me, sorry, uses 2023 income information from the 2023 calendar year. Excuse me. Sorry about that. And then you have to choose FSU as a school to receive the FAFSA. And our federal code is 002185. So it's not too late to file the FAFSA for fall 2025. We have a priority filing date of March 1st, but we accept, FAFSAs all the way leading up to the start of school. So if you haven't done it, it's not too late. And like I said before, the FAFSA does need to be completed each year. So the 25-26 FAFSA is good for fall 25, spring 26, and summer 26. But then October 1st, the 26-27 FAFSA will be available for you to do for the next cycle. All right, what happens after you apply? Call the colleges that you choose to receive your FAFSA and the state receive the FAFSA data electronically. We may contact you for additional information. Sometimes records or students and families are selected for a process called verification. Sometimes there are certain codes that we have to collect additional documentation for. So, and we do send those notifications via email. So whatever email you used on the FAFSA, you do want to make sure you check that periodically to make sure that we don't need any additional information from you. And if we do ask for additional information, you want to respond as quickly as possible because we can't do your financial aid award without a complete file. And then once your file is complete, we review it and prepare a financial aid offer that may include grants, loans, or work study based on your eligibility. So this year, for fall 25, financial aid offers began going out in early February. And these are uploaded to the student's portal, and they are also, a hard copy is sent home in the mail with an award guide. All right, what is financial aid? So the first type of financial aid is gift aid, which consists of grants and scholarships. So everyone, always, of course, wants as much of this as possible because this is money that does not need to be repaid. So there are some programs that are determined by the admissions office. First is the honors program scholarship, which is $3,000 per year, $1,500 a semester. The next is the presidential scholarship. And again, these are based on recalculated GPAs from high school. So the presidential scholarship is $1,000. The John and Abigail Adams Scholarship is based on your MCAS scores. So if you qualify for this, you will have an eligibility letter from the Massachusetts Department of Higher Education. So you'll want to send that to the financial aid office so we can be sure that that's included in your financial aid offer. And the Adams Scholarship is for $970 a year. That is the cost of our tuition, and it does cover tuition only. So the largest part of the bill will be from our mandatory fees, but the Adams Scholarship does cover the $970 tuition. There's also a RAM Alumni Award. So if there is an alum of the institution who thinks you would be a great match for Framingham State and wants to sort of put your name forward as a recipient for this, they would do so through admissions, and then you would receive a $1,000 RAM Alumni Award that's renewable each year. And finally, admissions has a transfer student award. So if you meet their criteria for that, you can receive a $1,000 scholarship for transfer students. Then we also have a variety of federal and state grants that are based on financial need. So the biggest one being the Pell Grant program. For needy students. We also have a supplemental educational opportunity grant, and then there are many state grant programs based on financial need, such as Mass Grant Plus, various tuition waivers. So if a student qualifies for Pell Grant, and they meet the Massachusetts State Financial Aid criteria, they will have tuition, fees, and a stipend for books covered by grant funding from federal and state sources. So, and you will know if you qualify for Pell when you do the FAFSA. At the end, it does tell you what your student aid index is and whether or not you qualify for Pell. So if you do and you're a Mass resident and meet the other criteria, tuition fees and a stipend for books are fully covered with grants. And that is our mandatory tuition and fees. It doesn't cover room and board, but we do have other programs available for that. Next, we have our need-based institutional grants. So we have our own institutional funding that we can award to students based on financial need. This a lot of time goes to the people who maybe aren't of the highest need, that maybe just miss sort of the other state grant criteria. And then there is an out-of-state scholarship. This is also determined by admissions. Sorry, forgot to mention this earlier. So the out-of-state scholarship is up to $5,000 if living on campus. So it's $2,500 towards tuition and $2,500 towards room and board. Next is student loans. So we award all students their full federal direct loan eligibility. So if you go through the process of applying for financial aid, all students are eligible for at least a $5,500 direct loan. And $5,500 is the amount that a first year dependent student can borrow. And these loans are in the student's name. They accept them by signing a master promissory note and completing entrance counseling. That's what will allow the loan to reflect on your bill. And again, so as long as you go through the process, everyone will at the very least, get the $5,500 direct loan. And these are, like I said, the federal loans that hopefully they will be again subject to the different loan forgiveness programs, hopefully, and like income-driven repayment plans. And they do have more competitive interest rates than what you would typically get for an alternative private loan. We also participate in the Massachusetts No Interest Loan Program. And this is a loan through the state that we award to certain populations. And it is completely interest-free the whole time for the life of the loan. And then finally, the last type of financial aid is federal work study. So if students demonstrate financial need, we typically offer them a federal work study opportunity. So this is a chance for them to obtain employment, student employment on campus in one of our offices or departments. And the students get paid in the form of a biweekly paycheck. So again, the jobs are not guaranteed. Students have to actively seek them out and apply for them. But it's a great opportunity to make connections on campus. A lot of times the jobs end up being something that you can actually put on a resume. And a lot of students really enjoy their federal work study jobs. And it's typically, somewhere between 8 to 10 hours per week. So we're not, it generally it will not interfere with your studies, because we do have to limit the hours because, our students are students first. So those are the 3 types of financial aid: grants and scholarships or gift aid, student loans, and federal work study. Nope. Okay, so if you have a special circumstance that was not reflected on your FAFSA application, we want to know about it. So if any of these examples apply to you, you should definitely reach out to us to see what we might be able to do. if the student's parent is unavailable to complete the FAFSA. If your income or financial situation has changed since 2023. So again, it's prior income. A lot can happen in 2 years. If someone in the family experienced a loss of employment or income, if a family received one-time income that won't be repeated. So if in 2023 the family had to withdraw a large amount of money from a retirement account to pay for a leaking roof repair and the money is spent and not available to the family anymore, and it's something not income that they get typically every single year. That would be an example of something we may be able to consider. Or if the family received, an inheritance and it was used to, purchase a necessity for the family. And again, it's not something that you get every single year. You can let us know about that. If the family has unusual medical expenses not covered by insurance. So this would be like high out-of-pocket medical expenses. So this is bills that were actually paid out of pocket by the family. With documentation, we may be able to take that into consideration. And then a recent change in parent marital status or household size. So if, your parents in 2023 were married and there were two incomes in your household, but in 2024 they became separated and your family's financial situation looks very different now. And these are just examples. Appeals are not limited to these examples, but if any of these situations apply to you, you should definitely reach out. And also, if we were to make any adjustments, we would need documentation. Documentation is absolutely critical for appeals. So like a termination letter from an employer, copies of tax returns, documentation of unemployment, things of that nature. So if you do need to appeal, the documentation is key. All right, and this is the contact information for the financial aid office. We're located in the McCarthy Center on the 5th floor, and you can also contact us by email or phone. And we're happy to answer any questions that you have. And I can certainly open this up for questions. I see there's some activity in the chat.
It's all me so far. Anyone who has any questions, like I said, definitely feel free to put those in the chat. I've allowed participants to unmute themselves, so if you would prefer to unmute and ask your question, definitely feel free to do that as well. But we'll wait for a couple questions to come through.
And I'll put my email address in the chat, just in case you don't want to ask something in front of a group of people, especially if it's private and relates to finances. So if you have something that you want to ask privately, you can send me an email and I'll be happy to reply. And we also, this time of year, we're answering a lot of questions about our financial aid offer letters, because we are pretty caught up with our awarding. So if anyone has questions, about their offer letter. So this question is about opportunities for out-of-state students. So we do have the $5,000 out-of-state award. High need students may also qualify for a Pell Grant and an SEOG on top of that. And then students can also have merit scholarship on top of the out-of-state award as well. So we have the federal programs and those institutional programs for the out-of-state students. And then there's also a program called NEBI through the New England Board of Higher Education, in which if you live in one of the New England states, but not in Massachusetts, and Framingham State offers a program that is not offered in your home state at a public institution, you can receive reduced tuition and fee rate. So again, this is very program specific, but we do have students that take advantage of that.
And Caitlin, it looked like the same person had a question about out-of-state students getting federal financial aid, and they are eligible for that too. So I don't know if you wanted to expand upon that a little bit.
Sure. So out-of-state students are considered for federal grants simply by completing the FAFSA. So if you do the FAFSA and send it to Framingham State, as long as you are accepted by admissions, if you do qualify for Pell, we automatically award that to you. Um, and we potentially also offer that SEOG grant as well. So you would get that federal grant by doing the FAFSA. Do you offer anything for siblings attending? My twin daughters are entering as freshmen in the fall. So the number of children in college is no longer factored into the financial aid formula. So the family size does impact financial aid eligibility. So having, two children plus two parents, potentially, that's at least four people in the household. All of that is factored in, but the number in college is no longer part of the formula. Hi, once we get our letters with offers, what do we do? If we are taking a loan, do we do that through FSU? Are there advantages in accepting the loan from the FAFSA? So if you get your award and you want to commit to Framingham State, you would of course first pay your deposit. But to accept the loan that we are offering, the student has to complete entrance counseling and sign a master promissory note. That's done at studentaid.gov. So bills go out in early July and they're due in early August. So a lot of students, are doing this type of, promissory note and entrance counseling in the month of June or July if they know that they want to borrow. There are advantages in accepting the loan from the federal loan. The interest rate is generally more competitive than other private lenders. And then these loans are also available for the different income-driven repayment plans and, hopefully public loan forgiveness, public service loan forgiveness will be back up and available again soon. But we do recommend that families borrow the federal loan offer first. And then if you do need, so to borrow in addition to what we offered, we first recommend putting anything you can on a payment plan first. So we offer like an interest-free monthly payment plan that allows you to pay whatever financial aid doesn't cover in monthly installments. So if if you're going to end up owing, $5,000 for the year, you can break that up into $500 monthly payments. And then, after that, if you still do need to borrow in addition to the payment plan and the direct loan, there's private alternative loans and plus loan, which is a parent loan. So you definitely want to decide, who do you want to be the primary borrower? A lot of programs, the student is the primary borrower and the parent is the cosigner. MIFA does a family loan option in which like the parent and the student are kind of co-borrowers. And then the plus loan would be that loan is specifically in the parent's name. But yes, we do recommend always considering the direct loan option first. Okay. I initially thought that the alumni scholarship was only for family referrals, but I recently learned that it could be alumni who refers someone we. At one point, we were requiring that the alumni scholarship be applied for before the student, at the time of the application before admission. But Kaya, maybe you can speak to that.
Yeah, I can confirm that that is the case. The scholarship is a referral scholarship. So the goal is for the alumni who the student knows to refer the student for the scholarship and for admission before applying. So if the student has already been accepted to Framingham State, unfortunately, they wouldn't be eligible for this particular scholarship any longer. But I definitely recommend that your student reach out to their admissions counselor or the financial aid office if they have any more questions about additional aid that they could be eligible for.
All right, thank you. And next question, if you need an extra loan, do we set that up on our own through the bank? So if you know you need to do additional borrowing, you do have to do your own research and apply for a loan through another source. So there's a lot of educational loans specifically available. But there's all MIFA, we work a lot with them, the Massachusetts Educational Financing Authority. They typically offer very competitive interest rates, but then of course there's banks, credit unions, Sallie Mae, a variety of different options. So if you do need to borrow, on top of the direct loan offer, that would be up to the family to do their research and decide who they wanted the lender to be. All right. Okay. So once we accept we will be billed, then we can set up a payment plan. That's what you are recommending to try to do first, the payment. Yep, great question. So we always recommend putting as much as you possibly can on that payment plan before borrowing, just because it is completely interest-free. So it will always save you money in the long run. But yes, so the first payment is in August, and then it's August, September, October, November, March, April. Yep. So it would be August through December would be the fall payment plan. And then, January through April would be the spring payment plan. And it's just a small $40 fee to participate. But then, it allows you to pay in installments, and lots of our families take advantage of that. Is there any way to get work study if it wasn't initially offered on the award letter. So if work study was not included in your award, but you're interested in it, you should contact the financial aid office to see if we can add it to your award. In some cases we can, but it is need-based employment. So the student does need to demonstrate financial need to receive it. But if you didn't get it and you're interested, definitely reach out and we will let you know. Yes, so it's a one-time $40 fee. So that's just the payment for the payment plan. So it's to enroll in the payment plan, it's $40, but it's just the one time.